Something deep within you knows you're standing at a pivotal moment. You've prayed, you've fought to endure, and at this very instant, your future self, 1 year ahead, is breaking through every obstacle to deliver an urgent message. Stay with me for at least 12 minutes because what comes next is crucial. A revelation meant to shift your mindset, redirect your path, and prepare you for the success and peace that lie ahead. Right now, tap like, subscribe, and comment 77 to signal your openness to the universe. Then drop a second comment. Ready for what's next? In your own words. This simple act will unlock immediate blessings and usher in a new season of transformation. Chapter 1. You felt the urgency but feared you'd run out of time. 500 words. You stared at the ticking clock, worried the gap between your dreams and your reality was growing too wide. Perhaps you'd set deadlines for certain accomplishments or milestones, financial stability, emotional healing, or creative achievements, only to watch them pass unmet day by day. Your confidence waned, overshadowed by the fear that time was slipping away. You'd lie awake at night, wrestling with regrets or illusions of missed chances. The sting of what escaped you colored even your daily chores with a sense of urgency you couldn't quite articulate. Chosen ones know the weight of destiny. You suspect there's a divine blueprint for your life, but the chaos and distractions around you muddle your focus. Maybe old traumas or constant financial battles drain you. You blame yourself for the slow progress, overlooking the fact that such external storms are forging a resilient spirit. Meanwhile, your future self stands on the horizon, urging you not to fall. They see a map you've only glimpsed, a reality where each heartbreak laid the groundwork for unstoppable growth. At times, you thought about giving up on that big dream, telling yourself it's too late or too unrealistic. You've scrolled through social media, seeing people younger or less experienced accomplish what you desire. The comparison game wore you out, fueling that sense of the ticking clock. But it's precisely in these moments of near surrender that God often stirs a subtle sign, like an inexplicable surge of hope or a random text from someone praising your hidden talent. That might mean you're closer than you think. Still, your mind churns with questions. If I don't see progress now, how can it suddenly appear in a year? You doubt that anything so monumental could occur in such a short span. But remember how seeds germinate, silently, almost invisibly. A field can look barren until, almost overnight, green shoots burst forth. Your future self testifies that this silent gestation is happening beneath the surface. The frustration you feel is the tension that precedes a breakthrough, not proof of failure. Why does a single year matter? Because time is an accelerator in the hands of God. He can compress transformations that might typically span decades into a single cycle. In many scriptural accounts, radical change happens swiftly. The enslaved become free, the barren receive children, the sick are made whole. 1 year might seem an arbitrary number, but that cycle can be your personal exodus from stagnation. Your future self stands as living proof that a different approach, rooted in faith, resilience, and strategic action, catalyzes results that once seemed laughably distant. No, you're not too old, too late, or too flawed for such acceleration. Your capacity to evolve is remarkable, precisely because God weaves your unique experiences into a tapestry of unstoppable purpose. Each obstacle taught you resourcefulness. Each heartbreak taught you empathy. Each moment of self-doubt refined your humility. Together, these traits prime you for a transformation that from the outside will look like it happened overnight. But you and your future self know, seeds sown in tears can bloom in a single season once the soil of your life is ready. And right now, your soil is nearing that perfect condition. Chapter 2. You're realizing old habits no longer serve the person you're becoming. 500 words. You looked around at your daily routines, maybe the phone scrolling late at night or the idle chatter with negative people, and you felt this deep disconnect. Those habits, once tolerable, now chafed against your spirit. It's not that you suddenly became self-righteous. It's that you sense an inner shift telling you these patterns hold you back. You might have tried to break them before, but always lapsed because the external pressure to conform or cope was too strong. Now, though, your future self is reaching across time, insisting that the next version of you can't afford these weights. Think of it like clothes you outgrew when you were younger. They fit comfortably, but over time they became snug, restricting your freedom to move. Similarly, your nightly binge on drama videos or your codependent friend circles might once have been a coping mechanism, but for the you who's poised to step into bigger arenas, they're stifling. God made you sensitive for a reason, to detect when you're operating below your potential. Each pang of frustration or boredom with your life is a clue that certain behaviors must be shed, replaced by healthier frameworks that align with your calling. The challenge is that these habits provide short-term comfort. They fill the lonely hours or distract from deeper pain. But your future self warns that continuing them is like constructing a prison of your own making. Real growth demands you let go of crutches and numb your hunger for change. The restlessness you feel is your spirit rebelling against stagnation. You're not meant to revolve in the same cycles for another year. Instead, you're called to build daily patterns reflecting faith and the incredible breakthroughs ahead. Start small. If your mornings vanish in a haze of procrastination, commit to 5 minutes of purposeful prayer or journaling. Let that micro shift anchor your day in intention. If you find yourself drawn into negative gossip, practice politely withdrawing from those conversations. Each small pivot reprograms your mind to anticipate something greater. Over time, your environment, habits, and relationships begin aligning with your soul's yearning for transformation. And as each facet of your daily life syncs with your bigger vision, synergy forms, accelerating your progress. Yes, it's awkward. You might lose some acquaintances who like the version of you that tolerated aimless complaining. You might face internal resistance that whispers, "It's not that bad." But remember, your future self testifies that trading convenience for authenticity is the best bargain you'll ever make. Freed from mindless scrolling, you'll find mental space to nurture that business idea or passion project. Freed from toxic interactions, you'll cultivate uplifting connections. Freed from emotional overeating or impulse shopping, you'll discover funds in time for the ventures that matter. In short, each habit you release is a load off your shoulders, letting you climb faster. Each new discipline you adopt is a rung on the ladder to that life you once only dared to envision. This might not yield instantaneous fireworks, but give it consistent attention and watch, as within a single year, you become almost unrecognizable. More focused, more loving, more prepared to walk through the doors God is swinging open. Because once you break free from what's dimming your spiritual ears, you'll finally hear the ring of opportunity when it calls your name. Chapter 3. You must reframe the painful events that shaped your journey. 500 words. You carry the sting of memories that once felt too overwhelming to revisit. A betrayal, a heartbreak, a catastrophic loss. These incidents left emotional scars. Whenever life slows down, your mind replays them, sometimes fueling bitterness or despair. Your future self, however, pleads that these same experiences hold the key to unlocking your transformation. It's not about romanticizing suffering. It's about extracting wisdom, forging empathy, and harnessing resilience born from adversity. Consider how a storm can uproot an old tree, but also clear the land for fresh planting. Painful events did something similar. They tore away illusions, forced you to confront your limitations, and revealed your hidden reserves of strength. At the time, you felt exposed and raw, but with distance, you see that these hardships cracked open your shell, letting your deeper gifts surface. Without such storms, you might have remained complacent, content with a mediocre existence. The tragedy or crisis jarred you awake, igniting a deeper relationship with God and intensifying your hunger for real purpose. Still, the memory weighs on you. Perhaps you tried to bury it, focusing on moving on. But ignoring a festering wound rarely leads to true healing. Your future self stands victorious precisely because they integrated these traumas into a narrative of growth, not permanent victimhood. The reframe is pivotal. Instead of seeing your trauma as the definitive story, see it as a chapter that propelled you into forging sharper discernment, bolder creativity, or stronger empathy. Rather than a chain on your ankles, it becomes the ladder you climb towards spiritual maturity. However, reframing doesn't mean invalidating your pain. You're allowed to grieve, to acknowledge the unfairness or shock. The difference is that you now view it as fertilizer for your roots, not poison to your soul. It's a subtle but powerful shift. You might need to talk it out with a trusted counselor or friend, or journal your feelings, letting the pen capture old hurts. This honest expression releases you from denial. Then slowly, you pivot your perspective. Yes, it was agonizing, but look what sprouted from it. The question evolves from why me to what did this give me in terms of insight or strength. Even the most nightmarish events can give birth to your unique ministry or calling. Think of how people who overcame severe addictions often become the best mentors for those still struggling. Your future self has found a way to transform personal grief into a platform of service. You see, the universe rarely wastes anguish on chosen ones. When you let God mold that sorrow, it becomes a beacon for others in similar darkness. You realize your story offers hope, confirming that if you could climb from the depths, so can they. As you reclaim these dark chapters and rewrite them with a lens of empowerment, your load lightens. Shame dissolves, replaced by compassion, for yourself and for those who still can't see beyond their present agony. The cumulative effect is you unearthing a deep sense of mission that sets your life on a trajectory your old self never dared to dream. It's not that you'd ever volunteer for the pain again, but you can honor how it shaped you into someone unstoppable. Embrace this reframing process and watch how your timeline shifts. A year from now, pain no longer suffocates you, but stands as a testament to grace's power in forging diamonds from dust. Chapter 4. You're stepping into a phase of unprecedented creativity and productivity. 500 words. You've always known there was more inside you, more imagination, more drive, more vision. But daily obligations, self-doubt, or external critics made you stifle that creative spark. Your future self reveals that in just a year, your life can revolve around the things you secretly love to do, fueling your passion projects with unstoppable momentum. This next phase isn't a random stroke of luck. It's the harvest of seeds you're planting now. Maybe you dabble in art but never made it a priority. Or you daydream of starting a YouTube channel, but fear it's too late. You've tried to push these inclinations aside, telling yourself you don't have time or that it doesn't pay the bills. But each time you sideline them, you feel a pang of regret. Chosen ones can't ignore the call to create. It's embedded in your wiring, the lifeblood of your spirit. That's why dissatisfaction creeps in whenever you try living someone else's idea of normal. Your future self stands as proof that once you lean into this creative identity, your daily life transforms. This surge of productivity doesn't happen in isolation, though. There's an undercurrent of divine alignment. You'll find unexpected resources, people, or learning opportunities crossing your path. A casual conversation with a neighbor might reveal a local art collective or a business workshop. Or maybe a mentor emerges, offering the practical guidance you lacked. These synchronicities act as cosmic signals that your readiness invites the universe's cooperation. By welcoming them instead of shrinking back, you join hands with a bigger plan orchestrated by God. But make no mistake, stepping into this creative flow demands discipline. Talent alone won't suffice. You must carve out hours to practice, to brainstorm, to refine. The difference now is that you'll do it with excitement rather than obligation. After all, your future self has already tasted the results and begs you to realize that each hour spent doubting could be an hour spent mastering your craft. Consistency becomes your ally. Even if you can only manage small increments, those add up, producing an astonishing portfolio or skill level. By year's end, expect to occasionally hit a wall. Creative blocks happen. In the past, you might have given up when stuck. This time, you push through, fueled by the knowledge that you're building a better version of yourself. Watch how your productivity in one area spills over into the rest of your life. The creative spark that once flickered timidly becomes a roaring flame, lighting up your relationships, your workspace, even your physical health. You find yourself more energized, more open to collaboration, and, ironically, more at peace. Anxiety that used to consume you diminishes as you invest in what you love. The key is to start now, ignoring the voice that insists conditions must be perfect. Your future self overcame initial shakiness by simply doing, even when not fully confident. Action overcame fear. Day by day, your dedication built credibility, both externally, as people recognized your talent, and internally as you realized you do have what it takes. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Lay the foundation of creativity and productivity this very moment. By next year, you'll have soared past the limitations you once believed were ironclad, turning raw ambition into tangible mastery. Chapter 5. You must strengthen relationships that nurture your growth. Chosen ones rarely thrive alone. People who share your vision often become conduits for divine blessings. Conversely, connections rooted in envy or negativity can hinder you. As your life evolves, you must refine your circle. Cultivate relationships that uplift you spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally while releasing those that keep you stagnant. Start by identifying who truly supports you. Not everyone applauding is on your side. Some prefer your current state and may resent your growth. Ask yourself, who stimulates your thinking? Who celebrates your wins without hidden motives? Who pushes you to be more genuine? Who, by contrast, mocks your ambitions or masks cynicism as realism? Recognize that one's supportive relationships might no longer align with who you're becoming. It's not about labeling them as bad. You've simply outgrown old dynamics. Holding on from nostalgia alone can breed stagnation. The letting go can hurt, but it's necessary. Your future self confirms that releasing burdensome ties allows fresh alliances to emerge. Yes, some may accuse you of abandoning them or changing too fast, but your priority is nurturing your evolving mission and well-being. Stay open to new bonds with mentors or like-minded friends. They'll energize you with creativity and accountability, offering acceptance over rivalry. Your future self predicts that some of these connections will spark powerful collaborations, a business venture or creative partnership that accelerates your progress. Don't let past betrayals harden you against new possibilities. Discernment, not fear, will guide you to allies who uplift rather than exploit you. Meanwhile, for relationships you treasure, invest time and transparency. As you advance, ambition can strain those bonds if you neglect communication. Invite loved ones to walk alongside you, celebrating how their support fuels your journey. True companionship is a two-way street. Help them uncover their own potential as you flourish. This synergy can transform your home or social sphere into a vibrant hub of shared success. Expect tensions as you shift. Some people may feel threatened or left behind. Address their concerns by affirming that your evolution doesn't diminish your love for them. Authentic reassurance can ease their fears and create a smoother path forward. A year from now, you'll find yourself with fewer but more meaningful connections, each one a vital puzzle piece in your unstoppable momentum. By pruning with wisdom and gathering with discernment, you'll establish a relational fortress that remains steady through every obstacle and triumph ahead. Chapter 6. You're positioned to reap unexpected financial and personal rewards. If money once felt elusive or vanished when you needed it most, prepare for a radical shift in your material world. Chosen ones often face financial tests that challenge their faith, but the year ahead promises more than a fleeting windfall. You'll see a stable upswing rooted in refined skills, consistent effort, and divine favor. Soon you may find a project you nearly abandoned suddenly gaining momentum. An investor steps in, or a viral post pulls new clients your way, creating a chain reaction of success. Initially overwhelming, this influx is manageable, thanks to the discipline you've developing during lean times, paying off debts, reinvesting strategically, and steadily growing your resources. All become second nature. What once felt like a scramble becomes an orderly plan. Simultaneously, personal rewards flourish. With less financial stress, you have energy to focus on self-care. Maybe it's improving your diet, creating a healthier living space, or setting boundaries that once seemed too restrictive. As your external world stabilizes, your inner life quiets and becomes more centered, freeing your mind to explore creative ideas, deeper relationships, or spiritual practices. New blessings bring new risks, such as ego or reckless spending. Your future self urges you to keep the wise habits formed in tougher seasons. Tithe or donate to worthy causes if that aligns with your faith. Save consistently and spend responsibly. A chosen one recognizes that abundance carries responsibility. By stewarding your resources well, you ensure the flow of provision continues. Another unexpected perk is the respect you earn from people who once wrote you off. Though you don't need their approval, it's gratifying to see them acknowledge your abilities. Some may seek your advice or collaboration, creating a network of possibility. Once you break free from scarcity, opportunities multiply. The universe feeds on momentum, ready to sweep you into broader horizons. Most importantly, don't hoard the spotlight. Use your growing platform to share how you made it through struggle and near defeat. That vulnerability keeps you humble and sparks hope for those still facing their own roadblocks. Remind them that small, consistent actions, faith in the divine, and a steadfast commitment to your calling can open the same doors for them. By uplifting others, you invite them to rise alongside you, adding collective power to your journey. In the coming year, expanding finances and personal peace will serve as a foundation for an even grander wave of shared progress. The stage is set. You're simply stepping into the role you were always meant to play. Chapter 7. You are ready to inhabit the future? Your spirit has always known you, always sensed you were meant for more. More purpose, deeper connections, a healthier emotional life, a richer bond with God. Over time, routine or cynicism might have buried that feeling, but now you're poised to claim the bigger reality your spirit always knew existed. Your future self beckons, confirming that your suspicions about your potential were never mere fantasy. Looking back, the low points shine in clarity: heartbreak, ridicule, and financial strain. Yet each trial shaped the resiliency you now wield. Fear of failure turned into calculated boldness. Heartbreak transformed into compassion for those still hurting. Isolation honed an independence that won't crumble if external support wanes. Every adversity was a sculptor's chisel, revealing the masterpiece designed by a higher hand. The year ahead isn't just idle waiting, it's an active co-creation with the universe. You've replaced old destructive patterns with mindful habits and turned heartbreak into a stepping stone instead of a dead end. This acceleration toward your destiny is why your future self calls to you. Stay the course. Impatience only delays what's already set in motion. Leaps of faith may unnerve you, but comfort zones breed complacency. Evidence of divine guidance abounds. Resources appear right when needed, and an unshakable peace settles in whenever you choose faith over fear. Such synchronicity confirms that heaven supports your bold steps. Doubters will likely resurface to sow second-guessing. They'll question your qualifications or highlight past failures. Their words lose power once you grasp that a higher authority pens your life script. A year from now, you'll be living proof of miracles they deemed impossible. So press on. Let each day's decisions echo the grand narrative you finally accept as yours. Renew your spiritual practices, refine your creative pursuits, maintain financial discipline, and invest in relationships that elevate you. These consistent efforts summon the next wave of blessings and fortify the unstoppable storyline your spirit has always anticipated. No tear was shed in vain. God weaves each into a radiant tapestry that silences every doubt. As you approach that future, you'll affirm that what your spirit glimpsed in its quietest moments was never a fantasy. It was your inevitable calling. Now at last it unfolds before you, transforming the hidden inklings of destiny into a lived reality.